right, it's time for our monthly fill of Robert Crash Craddock from the Brisbane Courier Mail. We're going to touch on all the familiar topics. But first of all, Crash, thanks for your time, as always. Can we have the Pat Cummins fitness update, please?
Well, fascinating. Pat has conceded that he's more likely than unlikely to miss the Perth test, which means he's basically gone. He started running yesterday. Harmy, I'm interested in your perspective as a fast bowler. He feels he needs a month to be fit. Right at this stage, I've got him missing more than half the series. That's been the whisper. The whisper has been ahead of the news. That's been the whisper for a month, that he won't even play in the series. He might get some in. But Josh Hazlewood, we interviewed him about it a while back, and his face just changed. He got very serious, and he said, hey, I've had 3 stress fractures. You cannot rush backs. The kinder you are to them, the kinder they are to you. But it's your gut feeling, Harmy, everything you've heard?
Yeah, everything I've heard does suggest that he's running. Andrew McDonald said he's running out of time. Now, getting up to speed, and you've only started running. You've only started running best part of sort of 3 weeks before, 4 weeks before. My gut feeling is the series will dictate where Pat Cummins comes into it. So if he's in a position where he could be close to the first test match and they don't play him, then they'll wait for that little bit of a break, which is, I think, between the first and second test match. Then England go off to Canberra. I think there's a little bit of a break there. So then there might be a clamour to play in the second test match if Australia lose the first one. If Australia lose the first one, all of a sudden you can give him that little bit of breathing space. You don't really need him for the day-night test match because the ball should do enough. You're not playing on as a flat wicket. So then my thoughts would be then going into the third one. So I'm with you in a way that he might miss possibly half the series, because if he does come into it in the third one, the likelihood is he'll miss the fourth one and play the fifth one. If you get Pat Cummins for 2 test matches, with the noise that's been going around the series so far, then I think that's a great bonus for Australia. So when it comes to your back, you can't rush it. There's no way in the world, a bit like a hamstring, that you can't, there's nothing sort of strapping you could protect it. There's no tablets you could take. There's no injections you can have. You have to build the process up through the volume of bowling, going through first, second, third, fourth, fifth gear. And then the minute you go into the overdrive, then you're running the risk of, will it break down? Because that's what backs do. And Pat's had a traditional back problem. So that's what I would think from from my experience where that comes. So I think it'll be dictated to by the series, where the series at and where Pat's body's at. McDonald said he's not far away, but he's running out of time. That would suggest that he's in their thoughts. They've not ruled him out, and it would be. Do you know what, Crash? I look at this and go, there's no point in dragging it on if he's going to miss the whole series. From Australia's point of view, I don't know what you think and what the noises are coming from back there. It would make more sense to me if Pat Cummins was going to miss the whole series, to rule him out now. He's not going to play. Then every press conference, nobody's asking questions to Steve Smith as an Australia captain and putting pressure on. We've been in this. How many times have we been in this situation before, Crash? When England have come over with 25 players because 3 or 4 of them are injured, and all we want to do is the negative thoughts of taking the negative mindset of he's injured rather than thinking who's fit. So for me, I would rule him out if he can't play in all 5 test matches. The thought that he's in the conversation for me means he potentially could play maybe 1 or 2.
Oh, Harmy, it's such an intriguing issue because, if he's ruled out, Australia will have a bowling attack of all players average between 34 and 36. Now, I live in Brisbane, and we went for more than 3 decades before without losing a test, Australia in Brisbane. But India got us a few years ago. Then the West Indies won here the last test of the summer. And you know why? Because our ageing attack was fading a bit. And this is a couple of years ago. So there's an open door there for England because Scott Boland's 35. He won't be playing all these series or all the 5 tests. It will not happen. So, and there's no one behind him, Harmy. if I was the England captain, all right, and you could have one wish now, I'd tell you what that wish would be. In the first test, to make more than 380 in your first innings and keep Australia in the field for 4 sessions. And if there's a little niggle to one of the bowlers, it opens up this Pandora's box of opportunity, because there is very little depth.
We talk a lot about potential replacement for Pat Cummins, and there's a lot of seamers knocking on the door. Obviously, Scott Boland's there, but what are the chances that Cameron Green and Bo Webster share the third seamer role, and they play both all rounders? Is that on the cards?
Well, the bad news with Webster is he's injured. He's got an ankle injury, and he's missed his second Sheffield Shield game in a row. He hasn't been cited. So he's in doubt, Manners. However, no, they will pick a specialist seamer. Boland will be in that role, but he's got a slight knee injury. And I don't have to tell you, Harmy, as a fast bowler, the pressure that goes on that front knee if it's not quite right. And I quite enjoyed Mike Atherton's column the other day, where he said, "Oh, England aren't scared of bowling. They took him for 5 and over in England." And there is that feeling that Pasball can get him a bit, because he bowls to that one line, one length, and if you go at him pretty hard, you might just get lucky. So it's fascinating. It really is. People over here are giving England a genuine chance this time, and they haven't won a test over here since 2011. Now, that's a long time ago. So, but there's just, gee, the interest is high. I've got to say it over here. I picked up fish and chips half an hour ago, Harmy. 2 people were in the Chippo come straight up, and we were chatting away, and everyone's talking about Cummins. It's wonderful.
It is. I mean, it's the same here. Everywhere I go, are you going? First thing is, are you going to Australia? And then the second one is, do you think they've got a chance? And it's the first time, I think, realistically, since 2010-11, that I've believed England have got a chance. You see it before every series that they've had before, but they've not had much of a chance. And I think a few factors in this. I think England have got a decent team, and they've got a decent method on good pitches, what would be in Australia. And 2, I don't think this is the best Australian team England will have played probably since 10-11. So you mentioned before, if England bat 4 sessions, look to get 380. If England bat 4 sessions the way they've been playing, they'll get 580, and then Australia are under pressure. So I think with that, I think England, when it comes to it, you talk about England don't fear Australia. I don't think there's a fear in the world anymore with like the younger generation and the way the players go. But I look at, and I read your piece a few days ago about Mitch Marsh, characters like that going up against England, spiky characters in your face, somebody that's going to come back at you. I think they're good characters to have against England, because England get in your face a little bit like the old Australia side. I'm not saying they're bullies, but when Australia used to get in our face in the early 2000s, England more often than not capitulated, and probably until about 2005. And I think England are a bit like that. McCullum's like that, and it'll be interesting to see if England go Australia, how Australia come back at them. They've got to have characters. Would you go with Mitch Marsh as an all-round?
I tend to think, even though his white ball form is good, his test batting average after 40-odd tests is late 20s, and it's just not good enough. But down the order, it is a really good question you make, because if Bo Webster can't play, you may bring in Constas and drop Green down. So there's all these issues there. The one form guy I do like, just he's been batting 3 kilometres from where I sit in front of you now, Marnus Labuschagne at Allan Border Field. He's going after the ball again, Harmy. I just read a book Greg Chappell released today, and in it he said, when your prime motivation is survival, your brain loses its creative instincts, can freeze a bit. And I thought straight away, that's what's been happening to Marnus Labuschagne, But he's attacking the ball a lot more now. He's looking good. I'll back him for a good series. But the guys around him are interesting. There's no doubt about that. And with an ageing attack, and you mentioned sledging, there's no David Warner. Warner was sort of the gatekeeper. Warner was the little guy who sat in his haunches. And you want a bit of lip? You want to throw a bit of lip at me? He loved it, But there's no one in the current team who I would put within a hemisphere of that sort of approach now. Pat Cummins actually discouraged it. He's a very calm sort of character, and it's worked for him. But maybe it's the series where England can do a bit of that, can do a bit of lip. It's I've seen it all. I'll go to heaven now. I've seen it all. If England come out here and sledge Australia out of the Ashes, I can't wait for that podcast, Harmy. I'll fly over and sit beside you.